On the Rec Yard, Women's Prison Podcast, where we are live on the Rec Yard every Wednesday night. What was that? Welcome. We are on the Rec Yard, Women's Prison Podcast. I'm Marci Marie.
I'm Toonchi. Can you hear me?
Oh, I can. I
Man,
can hear you, honey.
last week I listened to my voice on this podcast and it sounded very tinny. And I realized the microphone was using the computer audio and not my microphone.
God bless America.
I'm checking it right now to make sure that
It's almost like we should get on here just a couple minutes early and do a sound check before the show.
God, what a joy that would be.
Right.
What a
Right.
blessing. What a blessing.
We see y'all in the chat. Kim, Audra Lee. Audra Lee has been rocking it for a while with us. I see Crystal. I see Carrie S. You guys, I'm so happy to see y'all. You know, this is our favorite night of the week. Michelle Ramos, my sweetie pie, Deja is here.
Deja's here for me.
I listen, Toonch.
Okay, I'm listening.
I did 10 years with Deja. She is not here for you. She might
Deja, set the record straight. Set it straight. Right now. See those kisses? Those are for me. Those heart kisses are for me.
My prison child, Neala Thomas, she is our next community outreach person. She was live and in action. I will tell you guys momentarily about it. But yeah, we see y'all. We see Randolph. Thank y'all for being here. Shayna Allen, thank you. You sent us a DM. I'm going to check on that. And I'm sorry if I have not seen it already. Things have been a little crazy. Toonch, how are you?
Man, just busy and just busy, Marci. We get a break in between traveling and then we're just still busy. So
it's true. It's almost like we're busier when we get back from traveling.
No, like, because I just shut off. I don't do anything but watch TikToks and lay around and relax in the room when I should be working, I guess.
Get on somewhere.
I see Donnie's Cherry here. Now that's my girl.
Well, we're talking about fashion and style in women's prisons tonight. This is going to be a fun show.
It's going to be a fun show. Y'all, sometimes we just can't do all the serious, heavy topics all the time. Sometimes we got to come in with some light, the things that got us through.
Well, and that's exactly what, the same way that we took care of our to the best of our ability, the same way we took care of our emotional and mental state inside, we're going to have to do it out here, because we know, and let's just time out. Toonchi, were you flirting with somebody's guy, Freddie K? Carrie, to spill it.
If I was, was I drunk? I mean, I don't.
Listen,
was I
Pappy? I know your memory's a little rough.
Y'all, when we go out, why does Marci call me Pappy in front of all of our friends? And
I'm a terrible
strangers?
wingman. I'm a terrible wingman. Let's just say it right now. In fact, I think I have even told people to leave you alone.
That's why y'all just go on me and Donise, or me and Peaches, or me and Mandy, because they're good wingmen. You're a hater, bro.
I am a hater, straight up. It's true. I unapologetically, it's absolutely true. Hey, you were visiting Texas Chainsaw Massacre. She's talking about Freddy Krueger.
Oh,
now it makes sense.
I was.
Yeah,
that was real. That was real.
Yeah, for sure. So what we were talking about is the way that we took care of ourselves and gave ourselves self-identity in a place that actively worked to take away our identity. And we got creative with it, and we got we did some fun stuff with makeup, hair, clothes. We had some fashion
We
going on
did.
in there.
We did.
And in in fact, I think honestly the units that and y'all come for me in the comments. I don't mind. Tell it like it is. But I feel like the units that we left, Mountain View and Lane Murray, were known for staying fly, for keeping our whites like bleached up and pressed up. Uh, and Jennifer Mack's already going there, not with the
God.
commissary bag dresses. We're gonna get to that, Jennifer. I'm coming back to that. Before before we do all of that, we need to do this.
Let's do a weekly recap.
Tooch, how was your week?
How was my week? It was very long. It was very long, and it was at my desk a lot. I'm looking through because I don't want to. I took Taylor to the vet.
Okay, you took the cat to the vet. So I was in Dallas the past 3 days. Well, 2 days. We skipped one of the days. We were at a conference.
Mm-hmm.
So we were at the Multi Faith Initiative to End Mass Incarceration. Okay, and I'm just and we shared our thoughts with them. So I'm not saying anything that I didn't say to them. Don't run uh to their website and stuff and say I was bad mouthing them. I'm not bad mouthing them. They're talking big game. They're talking good things. But the conference was not what we expected. And as a group of formerly incarcerated people that went, we were a little disappointed that our voices weren't lifted in that space. And so we made some suggestions and talked to some folks, and we'll see if they hear us or not. And we also acknowledge that not everyone advocates the same, and that's okay, right? And so we can still respect that. It probably won't go back. I probably won't go back. But I will still uplift their work if they're out there doing it. Any organization, there are plenty that don't advocate the same way we do, and admittedly, we advocate a little raw. And so, and not everybody, that's not for everybody, but sometimes you just have to say things like, yeah, I had to squat and pee in the middle of the field because there's no bathroom. Like sometimes you just have to get raw and tell the real,
Yeah.
like whatever craziness, and for it to really get through. But and we respect that maybe that's not for everybody. I don't know. Anyways, but the great part is we did meet some great people. We did make some really good connections. I'm excited about some of the connections we made. And we had such a great lunch today, Toonch. Man, it was like, I don't know, 11 or 12 of us. And we were just laughing. I mean, we stayed forever. We took 30 minutes before we even looked at the menu because you can't get us in a room we're just yapping and talking and having fun and playing with each other. And then the best moments were Sade Wright of the Right Cause Urban Youth Conservation in the DF Dub. She presented our members with some gifts, some handbags and t-shirts and merch, pens and lip balms, and man, and I could tear up because it just one of our members said, "This is only the second purse I've ever had. The
Mm-hmm.
second new purse I've ever had."
Mm-hmm.
And it just meant so much to us. We are so honored to be able to partner and work with organizations that lift us up and help us to be better because we help them to be better, and they see that. Yeah, so it was really good. My kid was there, Niala, and she was all over the place. um, yeah, Yeah, it was just really good, and,
Yeah, I saw some of the pictures, and I have the fear of missing out. I'm like, well, I'm missing out, and I'm here at my desk doing work stuff.
you know, Toonchi, as our sisterhood, our organization, grows, and we have trans men in our organization also, so I shouldn't limit that to sister. I should say siblinghood. And we can't be everywhere all at once, and it's just I love like when I see the folks like our powerful women in San Antonio organizing and doing things, and I'm like, man, I really wish I had been there, but look at these queens freaking getting it. And it's just such a great feeling to see that we we are um, we are uplifting, and they don't need us all the time, honey. They don't need you all the time. They're
Well, I
this.
need them all the time, and I love being with them, and it just brings me. I've told y'all before that the only time I feel myself, and the only time I feel wanted and needed and seen and heard, is when I'm specifically with our group of friends, with our group of people that we know that advocate with us. Like, I can't even, it's like family. I feel more connected like family than I think sometimes with my own actual blood family, and it's because that's who y'all are to me. And so I just want to be where y'all are at all the time, all of you, and all at the
Yeah.
same time, all over the
Yes.
state of Texas.
Yes. Well, we're working on this swimming pool. We're working on the backyard, making it real snazzy, and let's get together. Let's have a pool party.
Pool party, barbecue, all of it.
Right, right. So, what kind of clothes does the TDCJ, the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, what kind of clothes do they issue incarcerated people incarcerated in women's prisons?
Maybe it's that I always felt like I was in a burlap sack. Now, whether that gown, now they give you this big burlap sack gown, and Marcy's talking about is the hole, like the armhole, you can see all the way in it. It's just a sack, like a flour sack.
Yes.
And then you've got your white pants, white shirt, V-neck. I won't wear anything with a V-neck. I hate it. I hate it. And it has a collar. Why does it need the collar? It doesn't even need the collar.
It
Um,
doesn't.
it's
But it
very
it
thick.
needs it so that we can press it and make it pop.
Make it pop.
Yeah, yeah.
You're right.
So, they give you this gown, and hey, there was some folks could rock that gown, and I'll tell you what, in the summertime, when I was washing clothes, because I had a couple wash jobs, that I would wash clothes at the sink and have that gown on and just keep it soaking wet because it was so hot. I'd be washing and just splash it on my gown and wash it and splash it. So I did rock that burlap sack at some times, but the clothes they issued often we're saying the color white, but they
Y'all know
weren't.
they were dingy. So you kept a set. If you had a brand new set of whites, you kept them. Now, we've talked
Yeah,
about this before. You keep those, and you press them so that they're clean, white, sparkling, that popped collar. Because you go to laundry and change that out, what you're going to get is a eggshell colored, yellowish, with a lot of stains and holes,
a lot
and
of stains.
honey, in places that you don't want to know where the stains came from.
And if you worked host squad, you might even have a host squad set that you scrubbed yourself. And baby, talk about scrubbing those host squad sets coming in after we've been working in the fields when it's been raining and they're covered in mud and haze in your shirt and yeah, Neal is talking about that our whites were so crisp they fall off the wall, and honey child, they don't know anything about that. Y'all don't know anything about about a set of clothes falling off the wall out. And Tooch, do you even know about it? You didn't do much cell block time.
Well, no, I didn't. I didn't because I behaved.
Yeah, you had you didn't have to say it like that. My mom is on here, Mama Sean. I behave too, Mom. Please.
Oh
Ple
boy, has
Yeah.
anybody ever seen you angry? No, ma'am.
My mama knows better. Believe me, she knows everything. Yeah, so we would press our sets when we lived in cell block, y'all. Like a two man or even a single man cell, we would take our clothes, wash them while there's, and you would scrub your floor, and I mean scrub our floors. I would lick my cell floor if I had to. Like I would, it wouldn't bother me because it was that clean, and we would scrub our floors anyways. We'd wash our clothes nice and wet, and we'd wash them in the toilet in cell block. So that's a whole nother. So in toilet water, after I just said I would lick the floor, and now that's coming together, and it sounds kind of odd, but I still feel like my cell floor was clean. Anyway, we would pour a bunch of water on top, and we'd take like our hot pot lid, that's like this, or we'd take like our white cup, and we would, or our ID. Some people use their ID, and you'd press it like you would with an iron, and you'd put the crease in it, and then you'd pour some more water on there, and you'd pick it up one piece at a time, your pants and your shirt, and you'd and slap it onto the
Mm,
wall, and it,
mhm,
and then you would
mhm.
just kind of smooth it out on the wall, and it would stick. Baby, I've been looking around my house because I want to show the people on TikTok how to hang. Where can I do that at? Maybe the garage.
Where can you do that at?
I
I don't.
don't
I
know.
don't know.
I need a wall. I need a
I
wall so the people can see.
I want to show everybody the white uniform. I found a picture of some ladies
Yes.
with here it is. Here's the white uniform. You'll see some people have the white T-shirt underneath it, but there it is with its V-neck. It's essentially made for men. They're very
Not
baggy. They're very big.
essentially, it is made for men.
Yeah,
Period. Not, there's not like a what women's size are you, what man's size are you. It, no, it's, they are made for men.
yeah.
They're
And
not shaped for women. And I just want to, so while you're showing this picture, a second ago, Deja had commented, everybody wears theirs uniquely. And they do. And you can see how people will switch it up. Like some folks are going to have a brand new commissary t-shirt underneath their set, period. That's how they roll with brand new shirts. They're not going to have an older one. Other folks will have a t-shirt, a commissary t-shirt that would just almost just almost just be see-through because it had been hand washed so many times.
those were great. Those were
Yeah,
great.
my
They're so
favorite.
soft.
That's a summer shirt. That's or the sleep shirt. That's the one you sleep in because it is the softest and the most comfortable. But that was a fashion statement in itself, and that meant something different. So you would have if you had commissary money, you would have your fresh shorts and shirt. You would have a brand new set that you kept just when you wanted to just look real fresh. And then you would have a set, if you had done a couple years or more, you would have a set that was see-through, and that was just almost see-through,
It was
real
sheer.
thin,
It was sheer.
real thin. And the laws would get onto you. When a certain officers would come in, first of all, if an officer that came in, that the kind of officer that lingers around the shower area a little too
Yeah.
long, you would go change out of that thin set. And the other reason you might change is if sometimes some of those officers are just haters and don't want you looking cute or not feeling cute. We felt like we looked cute. And sometimes it felt like staff didn't want us to feel that
I
way.
know. It was very bizarre. It's like it's a prison uniform, and I'm making the best out of it. I can't, you know, Serena comes into visitation, and she's got hers. It's all pressed white, pure snow white, crisp. She's got her hair done. She's got her eyeshadow, and we've already talked about that eyeshadow. It was too much. It's very 80s fine. I don't know.
Well,
I'm
now,
just
you're
saying.
not a makeup wearer. You're
Oh,
not,
here we go. But I do know the ladies sometimes would wear too much. It was too much.
because it was the only color we had, honey. It was the only color.
She, I,
Listen, we did that because we were wearing white. We
I
had
know.
no
I get it.
color.
And she said, "Well," and she likes to turn around and she'd be like, how do I look? How do I look? Pop that collar." I said, "You look like a disco ball, like in the '70s with all that on your face." And I said, "I'm not going to lie to you because I'm very sensitive to scent, Marcy. You know that if you press your clothes and they don't dry completely, they have this weird soap sink smell." And I said, you smell like the sinks. You smell like that lye soap in the sink." She goes, "Oh my God, you're so mean to me." I said, coming in here prancing around like a disco ball, and you smell like the sinks up at the front.
You are mean. You are mean. You're a mean girl. Why would she was feeling herself, Tooch.
But she was cute. I told her later. I said, "Look, you did look cute, but you still smell like the sinks because if those clothes don't dry right, they have that weird, dampy, weird
Well,
smell."
prisons and jails have a smell to them anyway. They have an odor that's institutionalized, building, people, chemicals. I don't know. They have that. So I get to, and I'll make this very quick. I hadn't had a contact visit with when I first got locked up because county jail there was none for 8 months. I get transferred to another county jail waiting to pull chain, and that county has contact visits. My people come to see me, and I know they're coming, and it was my husband at the time bringing my kids, and I have this uniform. It's not a great uniform, but I hand wash it. We wore blues there, blue pants and shirt. Looked like scrubs, but still that thick, uncomfortable material. I get some strawberry scented shampoo and conditioner, and I scrub those things in the sink in my cell in that gel. And I'm like with the strawberry, like, oh, I'm gonna smell so great. And the first thing that came out of my husband at the time's mouth when I hugged him was, "God, you smell like gel." I was like,
Oh man.
I had worked so hard. So I feel Serena's pain. She had worked so hard to look cute. And
But
you
it
just
just overwhelmed me. I can't. It just overwhelmed me so
did
bad.
she do the glitter?
Oh, she does sometimes. Again, it goes to the disco, and I would call her a disco ball. I'm like, girl, you've got all this glitter and green, like the eyeshadow. I understand if you're doing bold stuff, bold. I get it. I get it. Donice's eyeshadow is always on point with her contacts. I mean, perfectly done. Serena goes overboard, like a lot of ladies we know do. And so she's got this great, I mean, boom, and it's just glitter. And I said, "Where did you get all that glitter?" "Oh, it was this girl had an old card that we are like chipping off that because, they can't get cards anymore." And so she's like, "Oh, they find their ways and hoard." She got a case last year
A
for
disciplinary case.
a disciplinary case for something stupid like a thing of yarn that she had kept from a classroom. And I said, "Why did you have that?" "Well, because sometimes I put it in my hair." And I'm like, "But you're gonna get rolled up for it." "I know, but I put it in my hair because it's color."
It makes her feel good. We would take a risk. Y'all, we were not in there with K2 and Shanks hidden. We were in there with ribbon for our hair, glitter for our makeup, and free world eyeshadow. I mean, that's just the reality of it. We wanted things that gave us our own identity and made us feel attractive and pretty, and they just do everything they can to make you not feel good about yourself. And you just busted out a picture of the Bob Barker prison shoes, aka lovingly known in Texas prisons across the state
Don't
as
say it.
Jackie Chan's. They're Jackie Chan's. That's what we called them.
From like
Why?
the little because did you grow up watching kung fu movies?
No,
Like Bruce
honey.
Lee, they wore the little kung fu slippers.
Canvas.
Martial
They're the
art, yeah.
okay, so that's why. Well, we wore these. These are the state issued. Now I want to tell you, you weren't feeling cute in these. You weren't. You weren't feeling cute in state issued shoes. Now, if you could get the state to issue boots, that was an
Ooh,
upgrade from this. What are you looking at? You're
I
making that
don't I
face.
found some pictures. I found
Christian
some good
Sullivan's
pictures.
on here. He's watching from Facebook talking about get them fingers of bleach.
Oh yeah,
And that's how we kept our clothes white.
yeah.
That was a whole business inside of there selling beach bleach. That too. That too.
Look at this. And I know it's
Okay.
kind of small here, but can you see that?
Yeah. So we
It,
have a New Balance tennis shoe, and that is a commissary shoe. And we have a brown, what is the brand? I mean, it's not the brand there, but out here that looks like those boots. Who knows?
it's rhinos.
Rhinos. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was those were now this is a class level almost depending on what kind of shoes you had.
That's right.
Uh,
So
yeah.
if you had the little slipper shoes, those were they're indigent shoes, like they're state shoes. So you get that, or you get a pair of these horrible work boots that'll take your toenails off, right? But if you have money, then your loved one sends you money that you could buy a pair of tennis shoes, like you see here, or the rhino boots and those shower shoes. Those are TDCJ made. That's
Now I
from
want to
prison
tell
slave
you,
labor. That right there.
let's talk about those shower shoes because we were both incarcerated when they changed to those shoes. Before they had these slip-on death trap. Do you remember the death trap shower
We're
shoes?
terrible.
They were so slippery.
You coming at you hitting the ground. You're hitting the ground with those.
Yes, so these came out and, they're for purchase on commissary. I think when they first came out, they were 8 or $9, and we were, like, thrilled, and it was a big deal, but you could only get 1 pair. So what did that mean for anyone who didn't have their own money on their books? That means they weren't getting these shoes, not because they couldn't figure out how to get them, but because if you're washing for somebody or hustling by selling cards or drawing portraits or however you're making your money to take care of yourself, which is all against the rules, by the way, but we do what we have to do to survive. And this is a limit on these shoes, like you can only buy 1 pair. Well, I don't mean 1 a run, it was like 1 period. You weren't getting them, and I remember one of my bunkies telling me, "Well, I'll never get those."
Mm,
And she didn't for about a year and a half until they opened it up. Do you remember that?
I do.
Yeah,
I do. And let me tell you something. These shower shoes right here. Now, I hated slipping all the time in the others, but these
that look
I
like
hated them.
Crocs for
They
those
look
of
like
you that are
Crocs, but they're
listening.
not comfortable like Crocs. I said these were tires because they're
They
super
are.
heavy. And you and I both know if you don't dry those out every single time you get up, they mildew and they stink to high heaven. They
And
get mildew.
they get that white
Oh,
mineral buildup all over them, and that's another thing. Now, we were taking care of these, y'all. These shoes, they were these little whatever, these little $40 shoes off commissary, they were staying white. We were washing them, we were shining them. If somebody accidentally stepped on them, we were
a
immediately
problem.
yeah.
You see me and Brittany in public, somebody step on and we wear white shoes, or I know she's got a black pair, but like our tennis shoes, don't step on my shoes. It's just a whole fucking weird thing.
Yeah, yeah, we kept our shoes. That was part of the way that we expressed ourselves or that just made ourselves feel a little bit better, and it was the same thing with the shower shoes. People would take a little bit of Vaseline and shine these shower shoes that looked like Crocs. Now I didn't do that because
I did. I
did
did.
you? You
Honey,
tried
I
that.
had one of those palm brushes
Uh-huh.
just for my shoes that I would wash off the white
Right.
residue.
Mhm.
I'd do that. I'd wash them off, and then I would shine them with Vaseline.
That's so Audra
Oh
Lee,
yeah.
Audra Lee's in the comment section asking if we could cut our pants into shorts. Absolutely not. That was not happening. They sold shorts on commissary, but you could not cut or alter that state issued clothing. Now, if you cut them into shorts, obviously they're going to know. Did we alter those? Absolutely. If they were too long, we hemmed them up. If we had a if we had a shirt that was like white, super white, and it didn't fit because it was so big, we would just literally cut it all the way apart, cut it down, and sew it back together. Sometimes we would sew our shirts with a little bit of a waistline, just a little more feminine. Uh, our pants sometimes, and we would call we was like this was our what did we call those? And I know you didn't ever do these, but what did the folks inside call those pants when we used to just make them skin tight? Our cat suit.
That's right. Yes, a
We had a
cat
cat
suit.
suit.
You had a cat
Yeah.
suit.
Yeah. So you and then you were really feeling yourself. And it was pretty scandalous in there for that to happen
It
for
was
some of those.
like she got her cat suit on, and some of those were so handcrafted. I don't even know how you girls got those on and off. That's like they were just like taped to your bodies. It was incredible.
Well, I'll tell you what, on pants, I never had to alter my pants because I got this badunkadunk behind me, and so my pants
What?
but I will tell you, they always thought my pants were altered. They always thought they were altered. I would get pulled over because when they feel like your clothes are altered and you pass certain officers, they pull you over. Simmons, get over here. What you got on? What you got? These altered pants. And in the middle of wherever you are, in front of everyone, and if they're breeches, she's going to take the waist and pull them down, trying to look at the seam line to see if they're altered. My granny panties,
God
my
bless.
white granny panties showing for the whole nation to see. And then they're gonna like get up, and then sometimes they're like, go change and bring those back to me.
Yeah, they keep them. They
And
want
I
them.
would bring them back to her, and she'd say, this isn't the pair you had on. You had an altered pair. No, ma'am, I didn't. I just fit my pants well. Those pants just fit me well. Those so lots of times they would have me, isn't it ridiculous? Like they would have me go get like a 2X pants. So they would, and I would be almost just holding them up. But what
They
would
were such
happen?
haters, man. They were
Right,
such haters.
right. But if I wanted to sag my pants, they would make me go to laundry. They would make me go to laundry and get a tight pair. Like that's how they literally, it was no rhyme or reason. If you were a more masculine woman, not even necessarily lesbian, but more masculine, and you're more comfortable in baggier clothes. If you're a t-shirt and basketball shorts kind of chick out here in the world, you are probably going to wear bigger clothes in there. You're going to ask for bigger clothes. That's what you're comfortable in. And you're going to experience staff members in there calling you out. Oh, what you trying to do? What you trying to look like? Oh, go to laundry. Get a size medium,
Oh, I
you know?
hated it.
Yeah.
And guess what? I was the opposite. I had no ass at all. Okay. I'm just a pole. I'm just a little bean pole. Okay. So I would get medium pants. And first of all, my, what do you call it? My waist is high. Okay.
Yeah.
So if I put the pants around my waist,
Like your
I'm
belly button.
right. And they would say, put your pants on your belly button. Well, mine's all the way up here. So I look like 1950 or Urkel. Okay. And so I'd be like, no, so I like to wear my pants on my hips, on my hip bones, right? So, of course, my pants look really like a whole group of, I don't know, furry animals is living in the back of my pants because it's so big back there. There's so much
Yeah.
space and room, and it's
Yeah.
just hanging off of me. So it looked like I was purposely sagging.
Right.
And I'm telling you, this is a whole thing in there, y'all. Like the femme girls dressed in their little cute cat suits and their 80s makeup, and then the mask girls sag their pants, always had a t-shirt underneath. I don't care how hot it was. You got a t-shirt under, your clothes are pressed too, but your pants are sagging. They're bigger on you.
Or trans men. That was a big issue for trans men. That there are ways that they were discriminated against regarding the way they just wore their outfit, their same outfit. So you pulled a picture of the 80s makeup, this eye tutorial that is clearly from 1978. And and you're saying that's what we wore in prison. But yes, we did. We did. And what? And we put glitter in the corner. And I'll tell you what else we did. If it was my bestie's birthday, and she sent me a message saying, "Honey, we are wearing pink glitter from our eyelid to our eyebrow." That's what we did. That's what we did from across the unit, knowing we both had the same thing on for her birthday. Like, these are the ways that we celebrated with each other. Rhonda is talking about putting the Kool-Aid in your hair to color your hair. Yes, Rhonda, we definitely saw that. And yes, we saw people getting cases for it. We saw people getting cases who wore their hair naturally blonde and put Effordent to bleach their hair. We s
Effort.
Yeah,
I
yeah. Oh,
remember that.
Efford remember, if you don't do that Effordent, how it turns orange? So sometimes people would be walking around with orange tips.
Oh, tips. I thought you said.
Orange Get off the Toonchi, get
So,
with the
there
program.
wasn't much that me and the masculine presenting people could do to individualize our style other than have a good uniform, wear our t-shirts, keep
What
our
about
hair
fame?
clean. We get in trouble for fading. We've talked about how our haircuts just would incite fury. So you try to keep your hair clean cut, but also mine was the religious medallion, which I changed my religion a couple of times so I could change the always to my Unitarian Universalist medallion. Like I'd get pulled over. What is that? And I carried my property slip with me.
You'd have to.
But it was something, a unique piece of jewelry that I was able, and I shined it too with Vaseline.
Jewelry was a whole 'nother thing. You could wear a religious necklace. I think for the most part, I thought that those had to be purchased on commissary, but I could be absolutely wrong.
Well, if you have if it's like
If it's
the Christian,
available.
Muslim, Buddhist, but like mine was not, you had to special order and get permission from the chaplain to get it in.
Oh,
So
well,
that's when
well,
me and
that's why
Mandy
you
were trying to create a unitary.
I want to bring up about the pegging. Sometimes pegging the bottom of your pants. Remember how we would peg our pants like I mean, I'm going to date myself, right? But like in elementary school in 83, 84, 85, we would peg the bottom of our pants. Well, people in the penitentiary are doing that. And again, a major major problem.
You
Like,
get right for that.
you get rode up, you get denied chow. If you have your pants, like say you have your pants pegged in your cell, and then they call chow and you forget to reach down and unpeg them, you're not getting fed. Like, that's not only are you getting a disciplinary case, you're not getting fed. Jonathan's watching from face. He says, "I never owned those croc looking shower shoes. I made a pair of old school flip flops with thick soles and had them for years." And I want to tell you, John, if that had been on the women's units, it wouldn't have flown.
Not at all.
Those they would have got taken. Those flip-flops that they sold, those suicide slides is what we call them. Do you
Yeah.
remember? Because they
God,
were
they were
so
just like,
slippery.
you're busting that ass.
When they would break, you would use a hair tie to repair them so that you could wear them until you could afford a new pair from commissary, because you can't go in the showers without shoes. And if certain officers saw that your shoes were that way, that's a case and they would take it. Thank you for the visual of the pegged pants. Yeah,
I
that's
can't even tell you
exactly.
how many major cases I saw with women because their pants were pegged. And
Yeah.
a lot of times you needed to peg them. That they wouldn't even let us roll up our pants or our sleeves.
And sometimes you would be walking on the backs of them. Sometimes they
And
would
they
be
get in
so
trouble.
long, and for walking on the backs of them, you weren't allowed to roll them up and you weren't allowed to peg them. So people would be walking literally with their hands holding fabric from their thighs, holding their pants up as they walk so they didn't walk on the back of their shoes. This is Jennifer's bringing it. Jennifer Sherry, love you, Jen O. She's bringing it, a perfume sample to complete the ensemble.
That's right.
Those perfume samples, cologne samples out of the magazines, they were gold in there.
And sometimes you put a little splash of water on them to activate it more. And then if you rub it too much, then it's going to leave marks on your shirt.
Well, you have to be careful because you rub the fabric dry. You rub it all over your shirt, your pants, your hair, and then you get it a little wet and you rub the wet on your skin. You don't put the wet.
You're nasty.
Nasty. I feel like I didn't even say anything nasty.
You said get it wet and rub it on your body. You're just nasty.
Toonch, nobody else thought of that.
Dirty
Nobody.
minded. Woo!
We have to say this. Jerry, who has done how many years, Toonchi? This is
30, over 30.
And she says those shoes ruined her feet. No doubt. No doubt. No doubt that they did. Yeah. I do remember, as bad as even the commissary shoes were, going from county jail where they just had slides. And I remember I would be like exercising on the rec yard in county jail where they didn't care. I would get out of my shoes to exercise on the concrete because you couldn't in the slides. And but then putting on my first commissary purchased pair of tennis shoes, and they're not great tennis shoes. They are the bottom of the barrel, the bottom of the line. The price is jacked up. If we were buying them out here, we'd pay $19. I mean, that's just what it is. But I remember feeling like I was walking on a cloud. Like I just putting those on and walking around. I had to keep myself from embarrassing myself by asking people like, "Don't these shoes feel wonderful?" But they weren't. I mean, they were better than concrete, but they weren't what we have out here to exercise in.
For
Yeah.
sure. You
Yeah.
know, and you mentioned another part of the style piece that we had to keep fresh and clean, tight and white
Mm.
were those panties.
Hey, speaking of panties, yes, that was you. There was no grace to be given if you had some crusty
Some
looking drawers. And sometimes panties just fall apart and they
the cheap
don't.
one.
If you don't have contraband bleach or you don't have commissary soap to scrub and keep them tight white, they're going to start to yellow. And baby, we were ruthless when that happened. Ruthless. Yes, Jennifer Mack. Don't let your
Don't
drawers
no.
be nasty. And
Mm-mm.
it wasn't just it. I want to say most things I'm like, man, that came from the staff straight up. We didn't care. We were good to
Right.
each other. That came from the staff. But in this instance, it was everybody.
It was
It was
us.
it was us. It was the staff. If you strip searched and your drawers were nasty, baby, that law was going to hold them up.
And
She was going to swing them
she was going to
around.
show it. She was going to show everybody. And the thing was, Marcy, yeah, I mean, some people may not wash their drawers right? But a lot of times it was the water, it turned clothes yellow. like the sweat, like when you're out on the field and stuff, your clothes are just, no matter how much you wash them, they're just yellow from sweat.
Baby, the water sometimes was brown
Yeah.
that was coming out of the faucet.
So it wouldn't even
So
be your fault about the drawers, but let me
unless
tell
you
you.
had contraband bleach, your drawers were not gonna stay white like that. They just weren't. The water was brown. You're working out in the fields, hoe squad, muddy. I remember, oh man, nothing like coming in to strip search covered in mud, having to handle all your muddy clothes and then your panties with your muddy clothes, your panties covered in mud. I mean, this is the reality we're living with. No, it's hard. And I just want to say, since we're talking about panties, Eric knew a trans woman, possibly maybe just a cross dresser, that got caught in a men's prison wearing Free World panties. Did you ever know anybody to have a pair of Free World panties? I did.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what we had. Several male officers walked off because the girls at that time, I know that they're on a whole nother level now with K2 and real serious contraband. But for sure, the contraband that women are always asking for is makeup and panties. Like, I can't even tell you how many men got walked off from Mountain View for bringing in Free World panties, and it's like,
Yes.
girl, you're gonna get busted with
There's
that.
no they strip search you so often and search your cell or cubicle so often. I don't know how
How you
someone would
it
think
just
they could hold on to that. And maybe people did get away with it and I just didn't know it. I only knew the ones that got caught. But yeah, baby, them Free World panties were something else and they were big business. And it reminds me of on Orange is the New Black how they were selling drawers. Remember? We weren't doing that.
we
But
weren't doing.
yeah.
But Marcy, I was so terrified of the panty shaming that I kept sparkling white draws all the time. And if, hey, we're just going to be honest, and the guys that are watching, oh well, this is a women's
Forgive
show.
us. Forgive us.
Sorry, it's what
It
it is.
happens. It's life.
It's like
I need
women.
breaking news. Women have periods.
Periods. So we would have our period panties, right? Those are the panties that you will wear because you're on your cycle, and they may get stained and fucked up or whatever. But you always keep those out of sight when you wash them. I dried my undergarments under my bed, at the head of my bed, with my fan, so nobody ever, because them girls that would go around the dorm, they'd be like, "Come here, girl, look at them skitters
Yeah.
in Jane Doe's panties hanging on that pole. Girl got the nerve to hang them dirty ass drawers on the pole of
Yeah.
her bunk where
Yeah.
everybody can see it."
So we're in cell block housing. I have a little youngin. Her last name's Chick. Shout out, and she's brand new to the unit. Now y'all know, coming from Plain State, your drawers they give you 2 pair when you get there, and that's it. If you're there for a year, you're rocking them same 2 pairs of drawers. And let me tell you, they're not pretty because you can't. First of all, everybody's new to the penitentiary there. They don't know the tricks to keep things white,
Yeah.
and they don't know how important it is when they get to the next unit. So I live in the cell underneath her. I'm on the first floor. I'm walking from the shower area, and she stands at her cell door because she's already locked in her cell. And she said, "Marcy, I left my panties. Get my panties." And I said, "Okay." And I walk back, and
Here we go.
bless her little heart, they weren't gross, but they had yellowed. They were yellowed. They were yellow. They were yellow, honey, and she didn't know. And so I know that I'm trying to protect this little darling because she's sweet as pie. She just, you didn't know what the culture was. You didn't know
You
what you were
didn't
getting
know.
into.
You didn't
Uh,
know.
and so I'm trying to hide them, but that people had already seen me
Oh
get
no.
them.
Oh
And
no.
it just turned into this huge, and in cell block, it's a little bit
Oh,
worse,
raw.
y'all. I'm
Yeah.
just going to tell you, the cell block babies just go a little more hardcore on things. The institutionalization, which probably this white panty deal is part of that, is hardcore in cell block. And yeah, it was rough. It was rough. Listen, I forgot to tell people, thank y'all for being here. We love you. Thank you for liking the live.
We
Thank you
just
for
got real
sharing.
cranked up about the panties. It was such an issue. It's
It
part of the
was.
style. You got to have the whole outfit.
Yeah, thank you
You
for
really do.
commenting. And bras is the same. Bras is the
For sure.
same. You can't have some armpit stains on those white. What were those white sports bras? It's a sports bra. Hey, remember how people would put a couple stitches? So it's just the square sports bra. It's not anything fancy. It gives you the uniboob if you have a too small one. Like it's not cute. But there were some folks in there that either when they wore it, they would tie a string around it. So they wouldn't actually alter the bra, but they would tie a string real tight so it would come together in the middle and be more realistic or maybe a little more flattering to them. And then there were some women that would put some stitches in the middle and make it cuter. Yeah.
Did you do that?
I didn't. Mm-mm. I was hey, I was pretty nervous about I got strip searched a lot, honey. There
Yeah.
I mean, I worked a job that I got strip searched a lot, and God bless America, I had my little honey in there and we got stripped all the time. They always were so scared I was passing her a meal. God forbid I send some rice to medium custody.
Right.
I was getting strip searched. And Crystal, watching from YouTube, our friend Crystal, thank you for watching. Yes, we could wear a wedding band. We couldn't wear a large stoned ring. And that is if you came in with it. And that was a
Mhm.
business. That was a business. Those rings were worth quite a bit of money. That was a full spend. Somebody came in with a little $19 silver band. You could sell that for a full spend, $100, $100 bill worth of commissary. So it was
Well,
a
I did.
hustle.
I bought a
Tell
band
it.
for my
Yes.
girlfriend, and it cost me 3 rolls of stamps. And
3 rolls.
Belinda got it for me. And then a motherfucker stole it because we had to stash it and hide it. Now, and guess what? You weren't there, I don't think, when property slips in commissary, you didn't get the printout that has all the items. It was just a printout of your balance, and it was old school with a machine. And
Right.
all your property slips were handwritten with a carbon copy.
That's what I had.
Oh, okay. So
Mhm.
I just stole the whole pad of them because I worked in commissary. Gave them to Belinda to say, and we would sell those property slips.
Mama, if you're still watching, do you remember, Mama, at the beginning of the show, Mama Sean, when Toonchi said she never got in trouble? I just want to
I
point that
didn't.
out real quick. Tell us again what you
I did.
stole from
Oh,
commissary while you
I'll tell you again how I never got caught.
were.
But Belinda got me the ring. I paid 3 rolls of stamps, and I had the property slip. We were good. I don't know why she was so scary. I said, "Why did you sweat me about getting this fucking ring if you're not going to wear it?" She would hide it all the time. Well, somebody saw her hiding it, and they stole it.
Oh.
It was a whole nother thing. We took care of that, but 3 rolls of stamps for a ring that was probably like you said, $19.99 at Walmart.
Right. Yeah, it was serious. Yeah, and so that was a thing. But if we're going to talk about rings that we were allowed to wear, let's talk about rings that we made.
Oh yeah. You still have any of those?
I don't, and I had one. Brittany had. I don't remember what that the fate of that ring. Brittany had one made for me. They would make them out of the red chain bags, which is a potato sack, the plastic, and they could figure out. Baby, I don't know how they colored it. They put initials in it, like they
It's amazing.
weaved it so it had my initials in it. Um, yeah, yeah, that was something. That was something. And Jennifer's going hard. Jennifer Mack said, "Don't let them drawers be nasty." She's watching from Facebook. Thank you for watching, Jennifer. "Don't let that bra be turning gray.
No.
Them panties be unraveling because they would."
And let me tell you this, Jennifer, you pull that one raveled string on them panties and it just keep going.
Yes.
You just
And
keep going. It's real fluffy.
the whole top, the whole elastic would come off and they would just fall.
And it's like, don't pull that, clip it, but don't pull it because it just keep going.
Yeah.
Those damn panties.
Yeah. On our unit, the women would leave their dirty panties in the pants for the men to find.
What? Who
Wait,
said that?
John Lamberton. And
Oh no. Are you talking about the officers? Because they would. Warden Sellers did that just to be hateful to all of us. So I imagine maybe female officers did do weird stuff like that.
Tell us what you mean. Can you elaborate before we've only got 4.5 minutes left of the show? And I hope, John, you fill us in on
We
exactly.
took a big chunk of this style episode to
Hey.
really get into
Them drawers.
them.
Jerry Swaim says, watching from YouTube, Jerry said, I had a free world half slip when we had skirts.
That's right.
Now, she was locked up when she had skirts. I loved seeing some of those old G's pull out there because we hold on to stuff in there, y'all. We hold on to them. And I had Miss Ginger. I love you, Miss Ginger. I know your health is not well and my heart is with you. Miss Ginger still had a pair of pantyhose, of prison pantyhose. And she never wore them, but she kept them. And they'd get taken and she'd march right on up there with her number 5 prison number, because she had been locked up forever, and say, no, I bought these and they're mine. And yeah.
That little half slip, and then the TDCJ skirts. They let them keep that for a long time. If you had one of them TDCJ, it was basically a more fitted bottom part of the gown. They weren't bad, and the girls would keep them pressed and white.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jennifer Mack is out of control.
Jennifer is on one. Jennifer, you're going to have to be on the show sometime, honey. I could just tell you're my kind of gal already. Randolph Adams watching from Facebook. We are trying to connect with you because you might have some employment opportunities, and we always want to hear about those employment opportunities. So yes, we most definitely need to connect. For sure. And sting rings or trash bag plastic rings. Oh, that's right. Jennifer, I think that you were on the show. I'm so sorry.
And this is, let me tell you something. I almost turned my mic off because I got real animated. And honey, this is why you get all those messages that say, I love Toonchi. I'm her number 1 fan.
Oh,
boom!
Oh,
Burn, motherfucker, boom!
Right to the heart.
To the heart.
Oh gosh.
Toonchi's so adorable. I'm her number 1 fan. And yes, part of it is that I'm very good looking and charming. But the other part
A very little part is that. What's the other part?
Is that I remember with full detail,
Baby,
every single person here.
Because Jennifer Mack had a story.
Yeah.
A story about about the law.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one.
It was a good one.
Jerry said that they used to be able to order a college graduation ring.
Sure did. If you got your associates and your bachelors, which was we know, not often, especially with bachelors.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Not at all.
See, John, it was them officers turning in that laundry with their, because I'm going to tell you this much. As a woman, and Marci will say it too, I know it. We know if we leave, we don't often leave our panties in our pants or our shorts. It's not a thing.
It's not a thing.
That's on purpose. It's on purpose.
It is.
Sorry,
especially if you know you're taking your clothes to the laundry.
Come on, man. You're just going to double check and not do that.
Yeah. Oh, dirty dog COs. Keeping their panties in there.
Nasty. Oh, nasty.
Toonch, do we have any final thoughts? Last minute fashion.
Thought, fashion. We did what we could to keep our individuality, like to be able to express that, right? Like that's a way you control people, by putting them in conformity, like putting them into uniform and getting them all to like erase their individuality, right? Like it takes something, and it takes their humanity too, I believe. So we really found some creative, whether it was disco ball, eyeshadow, whether it was me with a very random, weird religious medallion, it just didn't matter. We always found a way. And our prison culture told us what were the standards of beauty and style, because it was there. There were real rules around that, as you see and heard by the big discourse on dirty draws.
Right, right. And let me just add that we were, like I said earlier, it was an effort to strip us of our identity. It was a constant effort to for us not to feel feminine if that's what we wanted, not to feel attractive. And I think that it was a way that we were just like, I did that and they didn't take this from me, and I feel good about myself at this moment, and that wasn't stripped from me. We're so happy to have spent this Wednesday night with you all. Y'all are our family and our community. Absolutely the best hour of the week for Toonchi and I both. And we love you. We're grateful for your support. We love the messages, the way that y'all have been supporting us on our Facebook page. And thank you so much. Department of Corruptions always coming in hot, reminding me to remind you, please do hit that like button. Please share this live so that other people can see our show. The more you share it, and side note, even if you're sharing it with someone who already knows about our show, the algorithm will push it out for us. If you're listening to On the Rec Yard, wherever you hear your favorite podcasters, please do leave us a review. And we will be back here next Wednesday night, same time, same place, 7 p.m. Central Time. Tunchi is dancing us out. Let me, you,
Out with us on the Rec Yard Women's Prison Podcast with Marci Marie and Toonchi.